All the regular meetings of the county commissioners take order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I will forego the board chair comments and we'll look at any citizens addressing the board. Anyone wishing to address the county board on an item not on the agenda may come forward at this time to be recognized by the board chair. Please state your name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. A personnel complaint against an individual county employee may not be heard initially at a county board meeting. Personnel complaints may be submitted to the board in writing through the county administrator's office. A person addressing the board may not use profanity or vulgar language. Is there anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing no one here, anybody online, we will move on. We have looking for approval of amended agenda. Commissioner Winger.
I move to approve the agenda with these additions. We will move 7G to 9A, move 7E to 9B, and move the administrator's report to 9C.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Winger. Do I hear a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Carlson. And we'll have to do a roll call vote. We have Commissioner Gould online. Commissioner Gould, are you in favor of the amended agenda?
Yes.
You, Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Winger?
Yes.
Commissioner Sumner?
Yeah.
And I vote yes. The agenda is approved as amended, 5-0. On to the approval of the amended consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda minus 7E and 7G that we move to the regular agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Carlson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Winger. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll call for a roll call vote. Commissioner Sumner? Commissioner Winger?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so the consent agenda is approved 5-0. On to item 9A is a Public Works, solid waste. We have Bruce here. I believe he's gonna give us a quick rundown just to make sure people are aware of what that is. It's more of a formality than anything, but Bruce, fill us in there.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
see if how bad I butcher this, but everybody pays a solid waste management tax when you're providing a service. So either it's us collecting it or the hauler that is picking up and delivering it. There is a state tax that is paid on that service. And for some entities, they have to come up with a market price that tax is put onto. And it is the case for Beltrami and all of the counties in our that deliver the waste to the Polk County facility, the MRF. Because if a hauler in Beltrami County were to go around and pick up all the garbage here and actually deliver it all the way over to Foston, they pay zero when they go in the door because Beltrami County covers that fee. And so we cannot pay tax on $0. So you have to come up, the state allows this market price. And so Polk County actually does it for us. They help determine what the market price is. And that is determined on the lowest cost options for us. Though they look at the lowest cost option is for them to haul and tip their waste in their own landfill. So they use that for all of the counties. And then actually the lowest cost for hauling is what Beltrami receives with Hubbard, Polk, and Beltrami County. Because we get a nice rate because we're back hauling. And so our hauling rate is actually the lowest. So they use, Polk County uses that rate to come up with the market price for all the different counties. He sends that off down to the MPCA for approval, and then they give the approval and comes back to us. And this is done every year. Each county has to pass the resolution setting the market price, and then we end up paying tax, the solid waste management tax, based on what that market price is. So the individuals out there bringing garbage in, never see this, never pay this tax. But the county, as a taxpayer, and then the county pays that tax on the garbage that we are hauling away over to Foston. So
Did you have a question, Commissioner Carlson?
No,
Okay.
he's gonna make a
good.
motion.
Okay.
Uh,
We good? I'll look for a,
Well, we can discuss after, but
yep, go ahead and make a motion.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So I would move that we approve the 2026 mixed solid waste market price resolution per our annual requirement.
Thank you, Commissioner Carlson. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Winger. Further discussion? Seeing
Bruce,
none?
thank you for bringing, for that. Just, I think that was more for the general public, so they knew what it was. Thank you.
Well, that was, I think it was good for the board to hear. Being on the solid waste committees, I knew what it was, but I think it's good for the rest of the board to hear that as well and know what they're voting on. So that's good. Appreciate you doing that, Bruce.
and I kind of generally knew what it was, but John over in Polk County had provided that summary to all the counties in case there was questions. So
Well,
that was very nice.
much appreciated. So we've got a motion and a second, so I'll call for the question. Commissioner Gould,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson.
Yes.
Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Sumner,
Yes.
and I vote yes. That passes 5-0. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for that. And yeah. Yeah. And now we're on to the Human Resources approval of the 2026 employee insurance. Commissioner Gould wanted to pull that from the consent agenda. And I see Ann is still here, Commissioner Gould. So if there's something in particular that you wanted explained on that, or do you want to make a motion, somebody, and then have discussion?
Yeah, if someone wants to make a motion, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Winger, motion to accept the 2026 employee insurance. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Carlson. And now we can have discussion. Commissioner Gould, do you have
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thanks. I wanted pulled because I want to vote against it. I just can good conscience support the 8% jump. I think 1%, 2%, 3% would have been reasonable and helpful for folks, but and just a reminder, I think we should look at other insurance companies when the time is due, and I was hoping for a little more options on that flexible spending account for this upcoming year. And so it's the same, not crazy about that. So I'll be a no vote.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gould. Any other discussion on this topic? All right, seeing none, we'll call for the vote on it. Commissioner Sumner,
Yes.
Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould,
No.
Commissioner Carlson.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it passes 4-1. Thank you. On to the administrator's report and any further questions, since I cut Administrator Barry off a little short on the budget and fee schedule information there. Administrator Barry, if you want to go ahead and start with your report, and then we can interject with any questions on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a brief update for you. As you may imagine, most of the time over the last few weeks has been spent on refining the budget, getting it in a format, writing the narratives, building the preliminary budget book, checking numbers, proofreading, all of those sorts of things. So quite a bit of time doing all of that. And then also been working with the staff to revise and put final numbers to the fee schedule, which you also have in front of you now. Additionally, though, I've met with staff from the Greater Minnesota Housing Fund. We are talking about a number of different things around housing, issues, opportunities, challenges, some of the obstacles that are in our way. There's going to be a housing summit on December 2nd that an invitation has been extended to you all to attend. That's being sponsored by the Greater Minnesota Housing Fund. It's an all-day event. I've informed them that is a board day, so they are going to attempt to modify the agenda, I believe, to allow for the most beneficial stuff to be discussed earlier in the day. So in the event the board can't attend, you'll be able to get some access to that kind of information. We're also meeting, several of us, we've kind of developed an ad hoc, task force. I don't even know if you can really call it that, just a working group maybe on the whole building the tax base issue that Commissioner Gould had brought up. I wanted a presentation from the Chamber, Greater Bemidji, HRDC. That's precipitated a number of different conversations, and we've utilized that to essentially start to brainstorm different approaches with more of a focus on actions. So I've been a part of a couple of those meetings, and I think another one of those is scheduled for this week. So as we work on that information and have something more shareable, we'll bring that back to the board and maybe get some ideas or direction or just provide an update. But that will probably be a little ways off as we continue to work that particular issue. Wanted to also update you on the HR director transition. Of course, it's a sad day tomorrow, really, but today as well. Ann is leaving us as our HR director, and she'll be working half day tomorrow, and then and that'll be it. So in the interim, Sherry Westreck will be assisting on some of the higher level duties as we work to fill the vacancy. I think I reported to you that we had 7 candidates that we were planning to move forward to interviews. One of those candidates has dropped out. We're waiting to hear from another that appears that they may be dropping out, so we may be down to 5 candidates, which is still a good crowd. And then we have scheduled the hiring committee to conduct the interviews on September the 12th. So we're hopeful that that round of interviews is productive for us, and that we'll be able to make a recommendation for a new human resources director shortly thereafter. Lastly, I was going to touch base on union negotiations. They continue to proceed slowly. We have met with 6 of the units. 2 we have not yet scheduled meetings with. I know one of them we are in the process of trying to schedule meetings with, but for whatever reason, these meetings are getting pushed out into now late September, October, and into November. Of course, that's well beyond the preliminary budget establishment, so that's going to make things a little more challenging as well. But that's what I have for you. I know that we kind of zipped through the budget pretty quick, the budget presentation and the work session. So I'll stand for any questions on the administrator's update, but also additionally, any questions you might have regarding budget as well.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions on anything here?
Mr. Chair,
Yep, Commissioner Sumner?
so I don't know how much of this has to do with the budget, but I know last meeting I requested that we discuss the jail, the current jail at our October meeting, and since then it's been doing a lot of thinking, and I appreciate having this time to think about it. So it's more of a jail question than a budget. And trying to figure out, what would make the best, thinking about it. Well, anyways, you said it would be expensive to keep it in the current form. Also, a partial would be, expensive. And you mentioned, the maintenance and operations of a partial. Has the design and operations committee put any numbers together on what those expenses would be? I know you mentioned that that the central school and the federal building are on the market, and I'm just kind of wondering, are the 3 options that were presented, are they a fair comparison? Being that they all have different uses to their buildings, compared to what we could do if we did a partial demo. I'm also wondering, it was mentioned that there's a demand of services. So if there's a demand of services, has the committee looked at the future workforce growth? And maybe the future population growth of Beltrami County to make the pitch for a complete tear down? This kind of, some of the questions I've been thinking about, that would help me make a better informed decision on, what to do. I mean, I know that I'm only one vote, but I want to make sure that I'm making, the best decision that I can, with the information that we have, and so that's why I'm asking for additional information.
Would it
In
be,
regards to-
would it be, something that we could have this as a future work meeting topic to talk through any of that kind of information, or how would you suggest that we do that, Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your thoughtful questions, Commissioner Sumner. I think it would depend on specifically what you're looking for in regard to information, because the approach that was taken and the contracts that were drawn up for the study that we presented to you were really to only look at the capital construction comparison. And so that's really all we're looking at. We're just looking at what would it cost to rehabilitate the entire facility. That number came out to be almost $10 million.
Right.
What does it cost to demolish approximately 75% of the jail building and repurpose other 25%? That came in around 8.6 million. And then what if you just demolish the whole thing, and did, your Sally ports under each of those, and that was around 6 million.
Mhm.
In those options, we didn't talk about, briefly we talked about it, but we never quantified what would the operating costs be under each of those scenarios. We just strictly had them look at the capital construction related and demolition costs and Sally Port construction costs. One of the things we were sensitive to was sort of what you're getting at, Commissioner Sumner, in that, okay, if we were going to do a demolition and we were going to reconstruct a Sally Port or something, how can we maximize the preservation of existing land in a campus to offer space for future growth that we might need for increased staffing due to demands or growth in the county population or those types of things? And so that's why when we look at that option 3, the configuration of the concept shows the maximum footprint of a future building that we could possibly get by the demolition. So the conversation sort of focused on, well, would you want to preserve a building and limp it along with increased electrical, gas, and maintenance costs that's going to sit there for the most part pretty vacant until you needed it, and then you're going to have to kind of modify it or to get it to work for you, and that's going to add some additional costs, and then it's probably not going to be exactly what you want, and it's still going to be old and those things? Or do you just kind of demolish all that stuff and say, we need a new X type of building, and now you can build exactly to your needs? Yes, it'll cost a little more because it's in the future at future construction costs, but you're getting exactly what you need, and you've preserved a maximum footprint for that facility. So that's about the extent. I guess I look to Commissioner Carlson, but really there was no conversation about operating expenses. If that's something the board would like us to look at, we could put some time to that, but it probably will end up being, my guess, is more of an internal analysis by staff. We have to get Steve and the sheriff and others to kind of feel like, well, what do we put into that on an annual basis? And if we upgraded these types of infrastructure, what would that cost likely be? We could get our consultants involved, but it'll likely require a change in scope and maybe a little additional fee. But if it's that important, I would advise the board to do that if you felt like you needed that information to make a better decision.
Well, Mr. Chair, and I think what kind of sparked that question was, I was at the AMC board strategic planning last week in Hastings, and the city council is operating out of a former county building that's over 100 years old. So I'm thinking, well, we got a jail that is what, 30, 40 years old? I'm not too sure. But could we repurpose it? I don't know. I mean, that's why I want to make sure that, we we try to get as much questions answered as much as we can, because, once it's demolished, we can't, replace it or bring it back, so I also want to make sure that we're doing, doing what we can. So I appreciate that. And I mean, if it's too much, I don't know, for an internal analysis, but I just think we have time to, maybe figure this out, a little over a month, but I know that, people are busy, but I don't want that to be an excuse and not trying to, figure out something. So.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Summer, those are great questions that we talk about all the time in the DNO committee. And I think Tom's exactly right. The person that's going to really need to come up with those numbers is not an outside firm. It's going to be Steve and his group that'll have to put together those numbers. And actually, we've talked about doing that in that committee. The reason we didn't go further with it was waiting to see what the general idea, what the general feeling of the board was. And if you're feeling like, and if the other commissioners are feeling like we kind of need to go ahead with that, what would it cost to mothball it or whatever? I think that's a great idea. And I know that's an extra burden on Steve, but I think, Steve's great. He'll man up and do it. And so I think that's probably a good next step, because I think all we have is really kind of anecdotal information about, yeah, it's going to be expensive to mothball it, right? Well, how much is expensive?
Well,
So-
it wasn't really mothballing it. The proposal that was almost 10 million was remodeling it and putting in another elevator and other stuff, correct?
Well, that's true. That's true. But what was left is what is left, and is that square footage anywhere near what a new building would be in the future for whatever purpose is necessary. So I think but yeah, absolutely. I know that Steve could come up with some pretty good idea of what it would take to keep alive the whole building or just that 25%. So I think that's what we meet next Tuesday again, and I will bring that up to Steve and see if he can't provide us with some numbers. I think it's a good idea.
I would like to maybe go at it a different way and look at if Steve could come up with an approximate number for how much money we would save by demoing that building. How much would we save on electrical and all of the maintenance and everything of the boilers and all the other stuff that is, may not be 100 years old, but it's 100 years old because it's a jail, because it's ran 24/7, whereas the rest of the buildings aren't. So it is old as far as the use of it from what they've said to us in the past. I recall that. And so I would look at it as how much money will we be able to save by getting it demoed in 2027 and not having those expenditures when we're knowing that we are going to have budget issues to begin with. So having our costs still at a higher level when we know we're going to have budget issues coming up because of all the other stuff. And so that I would like to see us see what we're going to have for savings by demoing it. And then the other part is, we didn't have the option, but if we weren't going to demo it, then what is the ongoing cost going to be? Because we simply can't afford to do option A. I mean, that we don't have that much money in the sales tax referendum money to be able to even do option A. That's really a non-starter for me. So Commissioner Carlson.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that was our intent when we talked with Steve about the possibility of doing that, is just exactly what you said. It's what is that cost? That is our savings.
Right.
So that would be answered in that.
So I think that would be good for the public to know that we're looking at, by choosing option C or whatever, it's going to be more efficient. We'll have the space for future growth of a building that is actually needed and whatever at that time, if and when that needs. And in the meantime, we'll have a better view of the current courthouse. And then, how much money can we save? Is it 100,000 a year? Is it 200, 500? How much is it going to save us that'll help offset some of the costs that we know we have coming? Commissioner Winger?
I just have one comment. It's, the building there, I worked in the building, so I know what it's like. The jail is a lot different remodel type of thing because of how it's designed than some of the office type of buildings that, are 100 years old that are designed to be office space. It would be pretty incredible task to turn this thing into something that's user friendly, the windows and everything else that it doesn't have much of. Just a lot of things there that just aren't the same kind of a remodel, in my opinion.
So Commissioner, or Tom, do you have?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on the wishes of the board and that we get you what you need to make your decision in October. There's been some dialogue that's gone back and forth. Is the board still desirous of us doing some sort of costs save analysis from an operating standpoint?
Just, for my standpoint, I think just, getting an idea of what the operational costs would be to mothball it and keep it running, which is also going to be the same amount of how much we would save by demoing it.
Okay.
Getting that number, I think, would be of value. I don't know, is there anything in addition to that you would want to see, Commissioner Sumner? No?
Okay, so
How about
then,
Commissioner Gold, has he got?
Yeah, I was going to ask that next. Commissioner Gould, do you have anything any comments regarding this subtopic?
No, I mean, I'm personally still leaning towards the third option and demoing it, and hopefully something meaningful and productive goes there in its place. I like what John was saying. I like what you were saying, Mr. Chair. So no, forge ahead with that. I'm happy with that too. So.
Sounds great. Thank you, Commissioner Gould.
so,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just not want to try to make things difficult for you, but I know when I think about doing an analysis like this, there's often assumptions that go into the analysis, which we can easily describe and caveat and all that stuff. But one of the primary ones is, do you want the analysis to include the leasing of any space that may be preserved in that facility, because that'll offset your costs. However, I think we have to go into this eyes wide open in that there is a lot of leasable space out there right now. And we'd have to make assumptions as to how much space would be leased. And I mean, if we did have that available, I'd probably be undercutting the market to try to offset those costs.
Personally, I don't see how we can even consider doing option A. We're strapped for money so much in the first place that, and we don't have that much money left over in the sales tax referendum. So to me, it's a non-starter. There is no option A even available, in my opinion. I would not vote for it, certainly, because it's just, we don't have the cash for that. So, I mean, the only option that as far as looking at would be if we didn't remodel it right off the bat, but we really, I mean, I don't think that would be smart either, because then we'd be spending money on just a mothballed facility that is going to end up getting demoed down the road anyways. So we might as well use this sales tax dollars to demo it now and not put it on the 100% on the local property taxes later. So I would just say, let's get the operational costs. What do we typically spend operating it right now for heat and whatever, air conditioning and just building maintenance, that kind of stuff? If we can get a ballpark number, I don't think we waste that on option zero. Just what do we currently spend? What are we going to save basically if we demo it? That's what I'd like to see. I don't see us keeping any of it. I think that what Commissioner Gould said and what others probably, were more than likely, I think, going to end up doing option C or option 3. And so how much is that going to save us? It would be what I would like to see if somebody else wants to see something additional, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of cost or time, getting those numbers.
Yeah,
Just ballpark figures.
I think I'm clear. I think what we'll do is we'll run the analysis with no lease offsets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because there
Just
would
wanted to
be.
make sure. I mean, that's all I needed to know, because
Yeah.
that's a different analysis. So we'll just proceed that way.
Yeah, because if we did option 2, that wouldn't be lease space anyways. That would be kitchen stuff and that down there. So I don't think we'd be getting much any lease space out of that. Right? So, okay,
Sounds good. Thank you.
good. Thank you. So I think that brings us on to, unless anybody had any questions about the budget stuff or fee schedule or anything, or we want to just review that and bring that up at a later date, or did anybody have any questions right now since we?
I guess, Mr. Chair, I was just thinking, Has the county or the budget committee looked into a third-party billing or grants or any type of anything like that to help offset some of these cost shifts?
I'm not aware of any of the departments looking at third-party billing. I guess in what areas and in
Well,
what,
Health and Human Services.
okay,
So, a number of years ago, the county was in a financial situation with our out-of-home placement. And since then, the tribe, Red Lake, has taken over, some of those responsibilities. And it's my understanding that the tribe does third-party billing to offset some of those costs. I don't know how much, if they're gaining lots of revenue or what it is, but it seems like they're not in the same financial situation that the county was in prior to the tribe, becoming an initiative tribe. So if I was kind of wondering if there's any possibility that the county can do something similar to that where we can offset some of those cost shifts in any way.
thank you, Commissioner Sumner. We can look into that. I don't know if that has been done at one point in time or another. I do know that the tribe does get different allocations, different formulas. It's a different set of funding and rules and those sorts of things. So that may impact that sort of look. But I think it's worth asking the question. So I'll go back and talk to staff about this and see if there's any potential for savings with what you're proposing. So
Yeah, because I mean, looking through the bills, I mean, it looks like we still have, some ICWA cases that might, qualify for, some sort of funding. So, I mean, just want to make sure that we're exhausting all our possibilities when it comes to, trying to balance our budget.
yep, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sumner. Any other budget-related questions for Tom? Commissioner Winger? Oh, no? Okay. All right, well, let's move on to our commissioner reports, legislative lobbying and commissioner reports. We'll combine them together. Commissioner Gould, do you want to go first?
Sure, no significant updates or announcements to share, pretty typical committee meetings lately. I believe there's also a housing event scheduled for September 20th. It's a Saturday coming up. That's what I heard at our last BICAP meeting. So in addition to the December meeting, I believe, unless Administrator Barry, for sure, I think there's also a September 20th one coming out, and there should be some details coming out within a few days on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Gould. Don't know.
Yeah, Commissioner Gold, there is another event. I believe it's the one that the city's leading. I don't have the details, but I think what you've described is pretty accurate. I could double check and get that information to the board.
Thank you for that.
But it is a separate housing activity for
Okay.
sure.
Commissioner Carlson, do you want to go?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just kind of the normal stuff, just like Commissioner Gould said, airport meeting, jail, Design and Operations Committee meeting. We continue to meet on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. September is going to be a nice month. I'm actually looking forward to one Tuesday off. And that's why I wanted to go on a little vacation. And then I have Prime West meeting coming up this Thursday.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Carlson. Commissioner Sumner?
What month are we in? I know we met a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So since then, I attended the AMC Board of Directors strategic planning session in Hastings, home of AMC President Mike Slavic. And there we talked about the future of AMC and trying to do what we can to improve the association to include member participation, whether you're, a seasoned commissioner or a new commissioner. Just trying to get more involvement and input about the association. So that was nice. Last week, I think I had actually a week off, so that was kind of nice. And those are pretty rare. I'll be at the AMC Fall Policy Committee meeting next week. Is it next week? Yeah, next week. Wednesday to Friday. I know that there was, so today's the beginning of the school year. And I just want to say that I hope that, everybody, all our young learners have a good school year, especially with what happened last week in Minneapolis. Kind of hit close to home. It actually did hit close to home. And it reminded me of the situation that happened in Red Lake 20 years ago. So I know firsthand, what that's like, and I just pray and hope that our young learners, can go to school and don't have to worry about adult things, adult situations. This year my twins are seniors, so it was good to see them, actually excited to get to school this morning. So it was nice. When I first started, this commissioner job, I think there might have been like kindergarten, first grade, and to actually have them in the seniors makes you wonder, where does the time go, right? So I just want to say, wish everybody a good school season. Grandparents, take care of their kids. Parents, everybody. So that's my report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sumner, and thanks for the sentiments about that. I remember that, situation on Red Lake. I was there right after it happened to help with stuff that I dealt with for my real job, and I still know a lot of the staff from back then, and it was a tragedy. So anyhow, Commissioner Winger.
I did the household hazardous waste meeting. They held it in Thief River, so I just did it via Zoom. Not really a lot to report that affects us locally, directly affects us anyway. Did the benefit committee on the 25th, and there for that. In all of these, the benefit one with the insurance going up, it was difficult at the prime health meetings to try to keep that down. Costs of everything are going up in the health field, and that's hurting all insurance companies. And I don't think we're going to see anything better. And so that's where that's at. The budget committee stuff was really difficult. I can say that now because it's been put out. Some of the cuts that we had to make, I didn't like having to make, but we can't keep adding to our people and having them stay here. So we had to make some really difficult cuts. So when you're looking through it, just understand it. We had to do what we had to do on some of these things. So to try to keep it down under the 10, which we all wanted. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Winger. I had several meetings, as Tom alluded to, union negotiations. We're still trying to get all the different union groups to work into our schedule and their schedules and everything. That's been more of a challenge than what we maybe thought it would have been, to try to get our schedules to jive. Airport Authority, John mentioned that. Nothing super special there. Had a Mississippi Headwaters Board meeting, and was able to actually help a resident on a last minute type of a thing to, for a couple of land purchases that came up with a thing that really shouldn't have to come to the Mississippi Headwaters Board, but because it was considered a variance, and I've just worked to try to help them get a letter from the MHB, got our board to give them kind of some some grace there. You know, we'll still officially approve it, but hopefully allow those two land transactions to go through for a couple of the Northern Township residents. Planning Commission, just had a regular meeting for that. However, I did find out that, sounds like I know the state has been really slow on getting things going on the cannabis thing, but one of the local, businesses that had applied for, that, was on the ball enough, and sounds like they have their tentative approval. So we will be, I think, registering the first cannabis business in the not too distant future, and that they should get their license, forthcoming. And then had Headwaters Regional Finance Commission, which is part of the, offshoot of the HRDC, had our meeting on that, which was pretty uneventful. Found that we have extremely good payback on the loans that the HRFC gives. And only a couple of them that are very small dollar amounts that are in default on that. So that was good to see. And then afterwards, we took a tour of La Valley Industries, and our mayor, who works for La Valley, was our tour guide. And so that was pretty interesting to see and hear all of the things that they have going. They're doing a big expansion on one of their facilities there, and doing remarkable amount of work. I didn't realize to the extent that they did. It was pretty interesting to go on that tour and see all the good things that we have going on with La Valley Industries. So that's my report. And the HRFC, just to make sure that the public knows the lending that they do with the revolving loan funds and stuff that they have. It's all what's called gap funding. It's not in direct competition with our local banks or financial institutions. It's basically, to help businesses that otherwise might not be able to afford to do the things that they're doing. They get X amount of money from a regular bank loan, and then this is like a gap between how much they total that they need, and the bank can only go up to a certain amount, and so they need another $100,000 or whatever. Then that's where the HRFC would be able to come in, and some of those monies we actually have quite a bit of, a couple $1 million still available to lend, because when they had some of the COVID money that came out. Once we did the initial COVID loans for the businesses that were struggling back then, once we got those loans paid back, which are paid back now, we're able to lend that back out again as part of our revolving loan fund. So we basically about doubled the amount of money that we had originally. If it wasn't for that money, we would probably have things pretty well lent out right now, but we have substantial amount of money left to lend. So, pretty good news all in all. And that's about it for my report. If anybody else has anything else, otherwise I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Sumner. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Winger. And we'll do the roll call vote because of our situation. Commissioner Gould, are you ready to adjourn?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Carlson? Yeah. Commissioner Sumner? Commissioner Winger?
Yes.
And I vote yes.